Hey guys, this is something of a test video for me. As you know, last time I tried to improve the sound of my audio, I've been using the microphone on the PC camera, which results in some really horrible audio. Both the voice, but primarily the background music, which was just not coming out. I mean, I would listen back to the videos and they'd be horrible. I mean, I know these records that I was playing and I couldn't even pick out what the hell was going on. I could imagine, what it sounds like to somebody who doesn't know the music. So last time I tried using a regular microphone, which you can see there, into a little portable mixer I have. I call it my Colin Quigley setup. Anybody who knows Colin Quigley, who often does live broadcasts, plays music and talks, has quite a setup at his home. And this is nowhere near as complex. It's just a small mixer. I took my microphone that I used to record instruments with. But what you don't see here, it looks like I have this fairly open room. But everything in front of me is incredibly cluttered. There's a wall in front of me, 3 feet in front of me. Computer desk, tons of CDs. I can't even move. And the problem is because of the length of the cables, I'd have to bend over just to reach the mixer and change things. Anyway, last video came out better in terms of audio quality. I just had the music playing on background speakers. This time I'm messing around, and I actually took the output from the stereo where I usually play my music, and I actually put it into the mixer so I can dick around with the sound. The problem is I can't monitor it that well to really tell how the musical audio mix is. But what does come out in terms of the background music is certainly a lot clearer. So this is really a test video to kind of test that out a little bit, test the setup out, the new setup. It's a little difficult to maneuver because I'm going to keep on hitting into this microphone. There's simply no place else for me to put it. I'm going to keep on, if you hear this, probably hear that, my foot's hitting the stand. But there's literally the stand is pushed up against the wall. So that, the legs have to spread out. As many of you know, my washer dryer broke in here in my condo about 2 years ago. And even when I was working, I didn't have the money to replace it. The type of unit that I have to get is a couple $1,000s. It's literally the only one that fits inside what's essentially a closet. And so for the last couple of years, I've been driving the half hour, about once a week, or whenever I can get there, to do my laundry at my sister's house. Now, when I'm there doing the laundry, often I am alone, which I was yesterday. My sister and her husband are on vacation, so I got the house to myself, essentially. And I was there, and because I'm kind of spoiled, see, at home I have a DVR, so any television program that I watch, I record. I never watch live TV. I record them for a lot of reasons. One of them is so I can skip over the commercials. Another one is my hearing isn't that great, so when I miss lines, I can back up and on the remote and simply replay them until I get what was said. I can pause things, replay things. It's a great feature to have. Once you have that, you don't want to go back to watching live TV and you miss things and you have to get up and take a pee or something and you miss a whole segment of something. So as a result of having had DVRs now for, 12 years or more, I really can't watch live TV anymore. So when I go over to my sister's house, the only thing I put on the TV, actually, and that's if I'm not watching music videos on YouTube, because I bring my little portable Chromebook computer with me. They have, and I have at home too, on basic cable. If you have basic cable, at least with my cable system, you have these music channels. And, there's what you would expect, top 40 music channel, pop, rock, heavy metal, classic rock, all this kind of stuff. But on and it's called Music Choice. And it's a pretty good thing. It's commercial free. I know they're on the internet too. I don't know what the broadcast is like on the internet. Supposedly it's the same as, and it's free. Supposedly on the internet it's the same stuff that you get on cable TV, but I'm not so sure. I'm not sure all the channels are there. But they have 5 channels that I'm interested in. One is I don't listen to there's one that's a smooth jazz that I kind of flip through and I stop if I hear an interesting tune. One is more pure acoustic mainstream jazz, which I do spend time on that one. There's, like I said, these are commercial free. Not to do an ad for them, but just in case the VC members out there may have basic cable and they have these music choice channels. You may have them and not even be aware. I had a friend that had them basic cable for years and never checked out the channel lineups because, like where I live, they're up in the 800s, like 899, 895 are the numbers where these channels are. So I had a friend that had them for years. And all of a sudden one weekend discovered them and said, "Hey, I got these really cool channels." I said, "Oh, you didn't know you had those?" He had literally subscribed to cable for probably 10 years without knowing that these were there all the time. So like I said, there's a smooth jazz channel, mainstream jazz channel, which I do tune into. But I know a lot about both those kind of music, so I tend to be very particular about what I listen to. And I tend to stick with the channels of music that I'm interested in that I know far less about. And they have 2 classical channels. One is called Light Classics, which you would think would be like the Four Seasons and stuff like that, but it's not. It's pretty heavy going stuff. And the other one is called Classical Masterpieces, I think is what they call it. But both the Light Classical and the Classical Masterpieces are not necessarily easy-going music, you know, not the pop kind of classical that you might think of, perhaps. And those are the ones that I tend to put on the most, because I know far less about classical music, you know. And if I hear something on these channels that I, particularly love, jot it down and go look for a CD of it usually. We try to get another listen to it by going, after I get home, I'll go onto YouTube and see if that same piece may be up on YouTube so I can give it another listen, and then if I dig it as much after hearing it there, I'll go buy the CD. The 5th station that I listen to, which oddly enough you would think with my love of, they don't call it New Age music, it's called Soundscapes, the channel. That is closest to the music that I make, and a lot of it that I buy and listen to, I tend not to tune into that one very frequently. I guess the reason is because they play a lot of music that I already know, and it's kind of like the smooth jazz thing. It's like I'd rather go to the channels that have music I'm interested in, like classical music, but not channels that I know a lot about. So I don't put the soundscapes on a lot, even though it's the music that is actually the closest to like my heart. However, yesterday I did have it on, and I heard this real. They play stuff like Nancy Rumball and Eric Tingstead. I guess a lot of the, I say negative, but the downside of the channel, and there is only one channel that plays that kind of music, is my perception was that it tends to play the prettier side of the stuff. They don't get into kind of any dark. You wouldn't hear Hal Budd on there, and you should, for instance. You wouldn't hear Brian Eno on there, like some of his ambience work, and I think you should. So they tend to do a lot of the Windham Hill, say, pretty stuff. A lot of acoustic piano, pretty instrumental things. Like Philip Auberg, which I heard them play today, and Will Ackerman. They even play Pat Metheny. I'm just going on the stuff that I've actually heard them play in the last 48 hours. Pat Metheny, one of those solo guitar things that he did a few years ago. It was just an album of live solo acoustic guitar. I heard Gene Evanson, the flute player, which again is a lot of pretty stuff. Windham Hill artists, etc., etc. A lot of pretty stuff. a little bit less on electronics. But yesterday, when I was listening, they played a piece by a guy, and they do play pieces by artists I've never heard of, which is maybe why I should have been paying a little bit more attention to them. They played something by a guy who was the last thing I heard before I left. I was done my laundry, and I said, I'll remember this guy's name. I didn't write it down, and because it was one of these guys with one name, and ended like BU, like Timbu or Sambu or something like that. Never heard of the guy before. And it was a really nice guitar instrumental. And I didn't even hear the full track. I don't really want to hear any more like William Ackerman type stuff. To me, that's too pretty. Nothing against William Ackerman. I actually have some of his CDs. And, I was a big supporter early on of Windham Hill stuff. But I'm not really interested in that kind of overly pretty stuff so much. Actually, a lot of it makes me sad and depressed. But this particular track, which was an acoustic guitar track, reminded me a little bit of the prettier things on John Abercrombie's Characters album. Now, Characters is one of my top 10 albums ever. And I don't know, I didn't even hear the full piece. So it was acoustic, it was kind of pretty, but it had a little bit of I don't know, say jazz edge or something else going on for it, that I wanted to check the artist. When I got home, look them up on Amazon or wherever to see what albums are out. I don't know why I just didn't reopen my computer and send myself an email with this guy's name on there. Now I forgot the guy's name, like a Tambu or Sambu or something stupid like that. And now I have no idea who it was. So to that end, I figured there might be one way I can find out who it is. I do have basic cable at home and a DVR. So I went to the music channel, the Soundscapes channel that played it, and I actually have set up, and it's recording now, my DVR to record the channel for the next 24 hours. And that's a big-ass file on my DVR that has all the tracks recorded, and I can actually fast-forward through the tracks, looking to see if they play that artist again, even if it's a different tune, just so I can figure out what the damn guy's name is. So far, it's been going for about 6 hours with no luck. They did play Pat Metheny. I was surprised. They played, I guess I haven't in the past really spent a lot of hours listening to them until today. I've had them on for like 6 or 7 hours now, which is one of the reasons why I recommend a few of those channels. If you have music choice, maybe to check them out. I did hear a lot of the pretty stuff on there, the pretty acoustic stuff. But I heard John Surrey as well today. I was surprised to hear Patrick O'Hearn. They usually don't play electronic stuff with a little bit of an edge like that. They played a Vangelis piece, which was just a real pretty piece of his. So, it was a little bit disappointing that they selected that one of all his works. But I'm still trying to figure out who this Sambu or Tambu or Ploopdu or whatever the guy's name was. And if I find out, I'll give a report whether I can find any albums and sample them and see if it's in the end turns out to be as good as what I hoped, and maybe I can find something by him that's available. For right now, I still have my DVR recording, the Music Choice channel, and when it runs out in 24 hours, I'll probably hit it up for another 24 hours and record more until I can figure out what this guy's name is. I don't know why I didn't just write it down. It's very frustrating, but I'm sure other VC members out there have had similar experiences, especially if you're driving in your car, say, and you hear something by an artist that you were not familiar with, and then you try to remember his name, only to forget it before you get back home or before you can write it down or whatever. But such is life, and not that I need my wish list of 4,000 items to grow any longer than it already is, and that includes books and DVDs and mostly music, though, on that wish list. But I'm always interested in seeing if there's new artists out there, and I'm surprised because the Soundscapes in the past, when I sampled it lightly, it was a lot more predictable stuff. So they do have better stuff than I thought. And there's a few electronic things that I heard today that were, they can be classified as pretty, but they were fairly ambient, even though for some reason they seem to be avoiding the superstars of ambient music, the well-known people, the Brian Enos and Harold Budds and the people that have been there doing it for a long time. And there'd be no reason why they shouldn't play something like a David Darling on there or something, but they don't seem to do that. So, that's my tripe talk for the day. I'm going to do or redo my Halloween video from last year, or just talk about the albums that I listen to at this time of year as Halloween, my favorite season, my favorite holiday, my favorite time of year comes seeping in. And that's it. Right now I have not returned back to work yet. That will probably happen at, the middle of next week, and probably not last very long after that. So I really have to, find something else that has a better work-life balance instead of working like I've been 7 to 13 days in a row, and before you get one day off, and then you get one day off and you work another 7 to 13 days in a row. And besides, the physical nature of the job has pretty much destroyed my body. I can't run or jog anymore, or even walk fast as a result of my knees being messed up, not to mention my back. And yet the bills still come in, as you know. Which just remind me, I forgot, I lost the bill that came in, and I don't know where the hell I put it. I gotta find that. I have to find that. You don't want your credit being ruined or people suing you because you misplaced the bill. Oh, I think I found it. So this video is useless. I didn't show any music. I talked about music. I'm going to mention, here's the lab bill for, when the doctor takes blood. My least favorite part of doctor visits, as a matter of fact. So, I'm talking a lot of nonsense here. Hopefully, the audio mix is better on this one, and you can actually hear the music in the background, which is one of my old things, by the way, playing. I didn't mean to go on this long, and say nothing. So I'm going to go for now. I'm going to do a probably Halloween video soon, so that maybe the music that I show people will be interested in. It's all the same thing. If you have watched my Halloween video from last year, it's basically going to be a repeat of that, because I play the same stuff every year. If you haven't seen my Halloween video of last year, don't go look at it now, because I'm just going to redo it. It's still up there. And that's it for now, guys. I will be back soon. I hope everybody's doing okay, and play around to try to see if here goes the audio. See if I can, wow, I can make the music go loud.